on her first day in that house, she and her brother hooks up right there in the house. Hi wonderful people, and welcome back to my channel Book Craves. I am Giselle. How are you going? What's up? What's the scene? Today I am going to talk about some of my favorite romances that happen between step siblings or maybe like step cousins, somewhere along the line, right? And I'm going to recommend some really good books for you. So if this is something you might be into, if you love those forbidden romances like myself, then subscribe to this channel, like this video, and let us get into it. So if this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And for those who have been sticking with me, thank you so much for all the support. Let us get into these books. Now, I was pleasantly surprised when I read First by Symone West, and I loved it. And this is from the Steps series. This is book 3, and in this book it is between cousins. Yes, cousins. They are not blood related, by the way, just throwing that out there. So in this book we meet Cassie and Reed. The story is centered on them, and so they met at a very young age. They loved each other, they were best friends, and so something happened in the family, and so they separated. They totally lost contact, and so her father and his sister, her aunt, they were trying to rebuild that relationship that took a beating because of her grandfather. When she goes back to spend the summer with her aunt, you know, she's excited to rekindle things with Reed. Reed wanted no part. He felt betrayed, and he was so angry and hurt that she never reached out to him. And so Cassie decided, you know what? I am going to push forward with this. I'm not just going to allow him to ruin something that was so good. She pushes until he starts seeing her in a totally different light. No longer her cousin, and the same with her. And so they do try to resist that magnetic pull. Listen, this book was so nice. It is a young adult. There was a nice, steady build in the tension. It wasn't voila, instant love, instant no. It wasn't like that, and I very much appreciated that. And while reading it, I didn't feel dirty. I didn't feel forbidden. I was actually happy for Cassie and Reed. It is a quick read. You can definitely complete it in one day. So try out, read this book, and I can say things did blow up in the family, and we will leave it there. I can't give you all the juice. I can't give you everything. I had to leave something for you to read. So this next book, I fell in love with this book, and I'm in love with the series. It is Poison Ivy by Steffanie Holmes, and this is book 1 in the Stonehurst Prep Elite series. I'm going to say this is a reverse hero, but hear me out. The heroine, Fergie, she also has a disability. She's visually impaired. Something very traumatic happened to Fergie. Her mother passed away, and she was being raised by her dad. And something terrible happened that she couldn't face it, she couldn't deal with it. Her father got into a relationship, got married, and so she had to move in with them. She had to leave her school, so she's starting this new school. And on her first day in that house, she and her brother hooks up. Cassius. She and her stepbrother hook up right there in the house. Her very first day. And as she starts to go to school now, she gets to meet his friends, and so things take a different turn between Cassius, his friend Victor, and his friend Tostan, and they make up the Poison Ivy Club. And basically in this club, what they do, these teenagers, what they do is they blackmail people, they scheme, and they assist their classmates in getting into a prestigious university. Now things are traded. They created this club that has became so important in their school. They stand out. They are the popular kids. However, their parents are involved in underworld dealings. Cassius and his friends did the unthinkable and they broke Fergie. Some information was released and she's assuming it is them. And so now she wants to seek revenge on her stepbrother as well as his friends. She, honestly, Fergie, given her disability, it doesn't stop her from doing stuff. It doesn't stop her from doing anything. She's very intelligent. She's by far more intelligent than they are. And although she was with her stepbrother and his friends all together, it has not changed her mindset on seeking revenge. Now, we need to see where the story goes, but honestly, this story is phenomenal. This story is awesome, and it is one of the first reverse harem that I love. It was really an enjoyable, quick read. Another one is Sabotage. I recently read this one. It is by Shantel Tessier, and it is not a series, but I love this book. I love this book. It was so different. It starts off with a bang. Things are very intense between Colton and Riley in that, yes, Colton and Riley, their parents are married. They are step siblings. They prank each other. Colton has a psychological hold on Riley, and Riley, she craves deprived things. She loves to be treated in a manner that is not typical of people within her age group. This book, it is very dark and twisted. So just to give you an idea of what happens in this book, they have a type of connection. However, they don't want to be together. They are fighting it. Colton goes with other persons and Riley, she's in a relationship. However, Colton did the unthinkable that started a war between them. And although there is this war, she craves him. And although she has a boyfriend, her boyfriend just isn't doing it for her. Things get really messed up and her boyfriend is just out for revenge now because of the way that he was treated and the way that Riley treated him and what he found out. If you are not into very dark books, I would be very hesitant into going into this. There is a bit of BDSM in this book. It is not too intense. It's really focused on that relationship between Riley and Colton, the push and pull and the tug of war between both of them, hiding their relationship from their parents, as well as dealing with Colton's criminal life. There are a lot of layers in this book and it's quite interesting. There is a very big twist in the book that I wasn't expecting, but honestly it was needed in order to take the book to another level. This one, again, it's dark, it's twisted, and if you don't like dark stuff, then I would suggest that you don't read this one, but you can definitely read the others. This book, Your Secrets and Lies by Sirrah, it is phenomenal. I gave this book 5 stars. I was blown away by this story. She did a really good job in building the story. I love the twists and turns, the ins and outs. I love the build. I love the chemistry between the main characters. It is a heartbreaking story. In this book, we meet Luca and Aria. This book does have some triggers, so please be mindful once diving into it or starting it. Luca and Aria, they are both flawed. They are both messed up and messy, and the story just entangles all of that together. Aria, she is a product of a rape and she mainly grew up with her grandmother. However, her grandmother passed away and she had to live with her mom. Her mom wants nothing to do with her, and her stepdad shows interest in her, and so they start this type of relationship. When her mother finds out what happened, she immediately forces Aria to leave. when she discovers that she's pregnant for her dad, things really take a turn for the worse. 5 years, 6 years after, she's moving back to the city where her parents live. Her stepdad is still interested, however, she wants nothing to do with him because now she and Luca is ready to take their relationship to the other level, to the next level. This interracial book is beyond words. The hurt, the betrayal in this book, the secrets again and the lies in this book it's unheard of. Although you would think that, you know, things would go really smooth for Luca and Aria, it doesn't, because on top of having to deal with her stepdad's interests, her mom dislike and scorn of her, she also has to deal with Luca's cold guilt. Now, how do you deal with all of that? When I tell you there's layers and layers and layers in this story, there's twists and turns in this story, there is so many, there's so much, but it all works and it all meshes well together. Is there happy ever after? I'm not gonna tell you. Another interracial step sibling romance is Always Been You by Q.B.Tyler, and in this book we meet Gabriel and James. It is a novella. It is a quick read. Gabriel is adopted by James' family at a very young age. There's slightly a like 10 to 11 year age gap between them. However, they have always been close, and as Gabriel was becoming of age, she developed a really strong attraction to James, her stepbrother, but he never noticed anything until like she turned 18, and so things definitely switched. They kept their relationship hidden from their parents. They grew up together and they were scared of how people would look at them. It was a really good book. That's all I can say. It is a really good book that you need to read. The tension between Gabriel and James, it's definitely there. Issues in terms of being stepbrother is really faced, and it's things that they have to deal with, and the fallout between other siblings and the parents are there. So they know it's not something that is to take lightly, and it's not going to be taken lightly by society given the fact that they grew up together. But yeah, this is another good one that you should definitely read. I loved every minute of this book. It is a very quick one. And the last one is Fallen Too Far by Abbi. This is another step sibling. They did not grow up together. Her father married his mother, and they were both maybe teenagers, almost adults, and so her mother died, and Blair had nowhere else to go but to live with her dad. Unbeknownst to her, she had to move in with her stepbrother. He treated her terribly. So this is not one instant attraction. There was a lot of fighting, pushing, a lot of arguments, moved out, moved back in. This is book 1 in a series. Rush and Blair relationship, it is really nice. It is really intense. It's one that develops over time. You see a lot of struggle with Blair not wanting to depend on Rush, because Rush comes from money. His father is a famous musician, and so she doesn't want to rely on him. She's also in a new town and totally alone without anyone. So there's a lot of growing up taking place with Blair, and throwing Rush into that mix. This story, it is phenomenal. This series, you need to read it. Rush got me angry so many times because of the way he treated Blair. It was definitely uncalled for, and he knew that she was struggling. He knew that what she recently went through, but yet he wanted to treat her like a maid. But yeah, things did change, things did improve, and she did get back at him. They didn't have a lot of issues between the parents and stuff like that, but it's definitely a book. It is definitely a series that you should definitely read. Add it to your TBR if you have not read it. So thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoy these recommendations. I hope you definitely read these books. I know it's out of some people's element, but listen, we just can't all stay in one box, right? We need to explore, we need to try out new things, and that means trying out different tropes in romances. So Thank you, and look out until I post another video.